So, Chad, when we go downtown Kenosha, what goes through your head?
I have a lot of fun downtown Kenosha. A lot of small businesses, a lot of things to do. Plus the lakefront. It's a beautiful place to be.
So, I actually truly do love Kenosha for all that reason, as well as Kenosha actually has such a deep history to it. Between the settlers coming into Kenosha, the Native Americans that were actually established here, the crime from the Prohibition time, all that awesome energy that kind of compiles up, and I feel like that kind of contributes to the nice energy that Kenosha actually has. And I say nice, I mean heavy energy.
Plus we had the Underground Railroad come through Kenosha too.
Exactly. So on today's episode, we're going to delve into the history, or what was it? What is a good word?
Some of the paranormal background of Kenosha.
The paranormal background of Kenosha, specifically in a location that we actually investigated earlier this year. So,
And maybe we'll talk about some spots that we would love to get into.
I'm truly excited for this episode.
So let's dive into it.
So when most of the people actually walk through downtown Kenosha, they are seeing the restaurants, the shops, and the museums, the lakefront views, as Chad had mentioned it earlier in the episode. But they actually don't get to see truly everything.
The behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes of Kenosha. I like that. The BTS. The BTS of Kenosha. You know, every time someone says BTS, it reminds me of what's it called? A boys band.
Okay. Yep, I can see that.
BTS, Okay, anyways, moving on.
Too much. Let's block that out of our memories.
Anyway, that's so mean, but whatever. It's like big feet. I like the word.
Big feet. I like big feet, but what you just did there, no. I gotta be real with you a little bit. I mean, come on.
Hey.
That's what we have here. Is we keep it real with each other.
That's why we lasted almost 15 years.
That's right.
Almost. We shall see if we last this month.
Really? We're gonna go there?
Anyways, so actually before all the storefronts had been established, we need to look back on the history of Kenosha.
A little aggressive there.
Yeah, well, whatever. So before the factories, because Kenosha is one of the biggest factory locations of jockey established here. What are other factories that were established there?
Well, one of the biggest reasons that Kenosha was put on the map was the auto manufacturing plant.
General Motors?
No.
No.
Was it AMC? It was a Chrysler manufacturing plant.
The Chrysler, yeah.
But even before Chrysler came here, they were building engines, car engines. I forget what the name of it was though. I want to say AMC, but I don't think that's right. Where the innovation center is now, that whole big, like 5-10 block area there.
Oh, so the factories, there were many factories that were actually based here. One is currently here, Jockey. That is one of the biggest factories. What's another one?
So back in the, I don't know when they closed exactly, 70s, 80s, something like that. They had the AMC, American Motor Company, and the Chrysler factory here in Kenosha. That's where the Kenosha Innovation Center is now, that whole big block area. But they used to manufacture and put together engines for cars and Chrysler vehicles. They put them together right here in Kenosha. But that whole manufacturing facility kind of put Kenosha on the map, because that's where I think a majority of Chrysler car engines were built, was right here in Kenosha.
And before all of these factories that came and settled here, before the buildings that were erected here,
I didn't say a thing.
Don't even think about it in middle school mindset, were established here. There were like the Native American tribes, like the Potawatomi, and we do still see the representation of the Potawatomi tribe through the casino that is currently here in Milwaukee, actually. And they're talking about establishing a casino here in Kenosha. And it's been a point of contention about that as well. So we're not going to get into the politics because I don't like politics and I try to stay out of it. Especially if I am involved with the politics, I try to stay out of it as much as I can. But anyways, so not only were the tribes were here, the Potawatomi tribes, they actually utilized the lake because I do teach this in history that the lakes were the lifeline of a civilization. And do you know why they're the lifeline of civilization, Chad?
Well, obviously drinking water. They need water to drink. But they probably used it to ship their goods to and from other tribes around the area.
Yay! You get a round of applause for that.
I mean, it makes sense. That's what we use it for today. It's to ship our goods to and from other cities. So why wouldn't Native Americans do it when they had the opportunity? It just makes sense.
Right. So they actually utilized Lake Michigan as a trade route until the English settlement actually came through the harbor and established settlement here in Kenosha, kind of thing.
Told them you can't use our trade routes anymore. Go find your own.
Yes. Yeah. So
they English people.
I know, but we are not going there.
No,
we're trying to be nice.
We all know our history, so we know what happened.
So, like any other civilization that comes to a new place, they like it. They either utilize it as a trade point. And then they go, oh, I really love this area. So they start settling here, building buildings, houses, and then eventually more people come and settle and then pushes out the inhabitants that currently, the native inhabitants that are there. So it was actually starting to form around 1830s, 1840s. However, not many people know this. Kenosha and Racine were one giant city, right? Kenosha didn't become Kenosha until like 1850s, late 1840s, early 1850s, when they broke off from Racine. So if you see that, it is actually pretty interesting to know. So yeah, the city and communities start to develop, kind of thing. So let's talk about the boom of downtown. What do you think happened?
So Alia, let's talk about the downtown Kenosha back in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. What do you think it was like back then?
Oh, just imagining myself standing on 7th Avenue 100 years earlier. I could just imagine like the horse-drawn carriages, the postmen. Oh, the dresses.
The dresses. I know how much you love to dress up in those Victorian dresses.
Yes, and the prices compared to today's prices. I wish we had those prices back.
But you didn't make nearly as much money either back then, so.
That is true. I mean, especially with the Industrial Revolution, like turning into factories or building those factories, factory workers are starting to actually have long hours, not really have regulations, and meaning that safety becomes an issue. So why would we have issues with safety? And we have to ask ourselves that too.
Well, they didn't have any standards back then. They just kind of did whatever they. They also didn't really have any child labor laws. Like they had a lot of kids working full time in factories. They kind of almost exploited kids whenever they could.
They completely exploited kids. I mean, who doesn't now?
Well, they have laws now, so they don't really exploit kids now.
I mean, like in my classroom, I do a lot of child labor kind of thing. Well,
we're not going to talk about that. But you ask the kids if they would like to help you do things, and the kids voluntarily help you.
Yes,
there's a difference.
All right. So thinking about when the settlers came and developed Kenosha, and by the way, Kenosha was not just Kenosha; it was actually Racine. All one big city. And then around the 1850s, Kenosha became independent from Racine, so there were two cities after that. So that, I mean, it was a fun fact when I learned, because I was researching the history of my house. Because our house is built, the original house was 1832, which is predates Kenosha. So technically, we were Racine citizens if we were owning this house back then.
We'd be really old by now then.
I know. If only we were immortal. Oh my God. There could only be one.
I don't know if I'd want to live that long, but...
If you know that line or that quote, which
movie is it from? Drop it in the comments.
Exactly. So, as Chad talks over me.
Well, you were stumbling too much. So, Ali, let's talk about downtown Kenosha and how it's developed over the years. Can you imagine living in downtown or being in downtown Kenosha in the early 1900s and late 1800s?
Oh, yes.
What was it like back then, do you think?
Oh, if I can imagine myself just standing on 7th Avenue, about 100 years earlier, I would be mesmerized. One, by the clothing, of course, you know, the dresses that the women wore. Although they are very constricted, but they were beautiful.
Yes. You love to dress up in Victorian dresses whenever she gets the chance. Mm-hmm. Except for the really hot days.
Oh, yes. We don't want that. So just imagine also the prices at that time versus the prices now, 100 years later.
Yeah, but they got paid a lot less too then, so...
That is true. I mean, around the turn of the century, when the Industrial Revolution started to hit the U.S., so all the factories started to boom, and the hours weren't regulated. However, they provided jobs for people, including children. But the hours, there's no real regulation. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine the working conditions for that, for those factories, for factory workers kind of thing. Although, you know, I may use child labor, you know, whenever I can in the classroom.
Yeah, but you don't force them to do it. You ask them if they want to help you.
True, and then it's not really labor intensive. It's just stuff that I just don't want to do by myself.
Yeah.
It's like a conveyor belt or the...
Right. Or cleaning up, organizing your classroom.
Yes. Yeah. It's like a conveyor belt or assembly line. Sorry, words are hard today.
Yeah, you're struggling today.
I am, but we're going to get through this. So,
we will.
But yeah, I could only imagine like children actually running outside, touching grass, like they say today.
And speaking of that, you know, we've both noticed in our neighborhood the last month or so. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there are new families that have moved in recently, but kids actually walking around and riding their bikes up and down our street.
I know. It's an amazement.
Something we have not noticed in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Kids actually outside being kids, mm-hmm. playing with each other, playing with one another, and riding their bikes, mm-hmm. and actually having fun being kids, touching grass. Mm-hmm. Something we can't get our daughter to do to save our lives.
Oh my God. I think she's grown in a society or like a generation that they just are afraid to touch grass, and literally it's a forcing thing. Currently, we took away all of her electronics because she had too much electronic technology yesterday. So we go, you gotta figure out your entertainments.
Yeah. But
regardless, seeing those children running, also like the businesses that were there. Can you imagine the storefronts being packed filled with stuff? Like, again, what the prices that at that time, you know? People actually go out and do things instead of staying in the house.
Having to leave their house to buy stuff instead of having everything mm-hmm. ordered online.
Oh, that kind of sucked. That would suck. I forgot how it felt. I mean, I am at an age that I remember going to that. You have to go to the store. Blockbusters was a thing. So, but yeah, I kind of understand that.
I mean, we did try the whole no online ordering thing for June, which, you know,
May.
For May, which we kind of failed at miserably. You made it what?
2 weeks. It was half the month.
No, I think it only made it like a week before you like, I have to
No,
have this.
it was 2 weeks.
Well, to be fair though, it was something you couldn't find in the stores or something like that.
Yes,
So.
and we found it cheaper online, and we needed it. It was a need, not a want, though. That's the difference. Yes.
I think you could have lived without it, but regardless, it doesn't really matter.
Anyways, arguments actually happen because tempers flare. People are under the influence because there is no regulations on those as well. And accidents happen during those factory times too. So
It's true.
So, I mean, and the thing is, there's no cell phone to record. So, how do we know if it actually happened? Obituaries, written history kind of thing. So, if you really, really want to know about who died when, I would suggest going to the Kenosha History Center to actually get some documentation from them. They're pretty accommodating.
Looking up old obituaries too.
So we all know about the Great Chicago Fire. Was it Miss O'Leary's cow kicked that lantern?
That's the old wives' tale anyway.
So if you heard anything different, let us know and drop it in the comments kind of thing. However, if you are not a major historian, you would know like most of the houses and the buildings were made of wood. So, and they didn't really have electricity, so they used candlelight to light their rooms. So if you fell asleep with that candlelight lit and you just happen to roll over and knock that thing, what do you think will happen?
And I'm not a very calm sleeper, so that would probably happen a lot to me.
Yes, our daughter is not a calm sleeper. So the thing is, those houses, those buildings would catch on fire. So Kenosha wasn't one of the places that were spared. There were a lot of fires that happened during that at that time. Business burned down. The houses had to be rebuilt. And can you imagine these buildings? You go downtown Kenosha and you just look at these buildings and imagine they're over 100 years old. And can you imagine how many owners they had?
A lot.
So one of the things that many people forget, that these houses, these buildings that were established in the early 1800s, early to late 1800s, were completely made of wood. So, and their lighting source is a candle. So,
Is that why they started making them out of brick, especially the ones downtown?
yes, after so many downtowns or so many cities that were being burned, like the Great Chicago Fire, and who has not heard from that?
Yeah, almost everybody's heard of the Great Chicago Fire. The cow kicking over the lantern.
Yeah, the O'Leary's cow. I don't even know why I'm bothering. Like, you literally just sit there.
Oh my God, woman.
So many people don't know this, but most of the downtowns or most of the cities, the buildings were made out of wood. And they actually used candlelight for a source of light. They didn't have our fancy electricity back then. So what do you think would happen with that candlelight?
Well, people would not sleep very soundly. They'd be all restless and rolling over in their sleep and accidentally, or maybe on purpose, who knows, knock over their candle in the middle of the night and burn down their house or their business by accident.
And remember, there was no hard copy or written records of how these fires started. Let's take the Great Chicago Fire.
Well, that one's pretty well documented. You had the cow. What was the name?
Miss O'Leary's cow.
Yeah, she knocked over the kicked over the lantern and started the fire.
Okay, we're gonna say documented with the air quotes because like that is still like a legend. We don't know for sure how the Great Chicago Fire actually started.
I mean, that's true, but I feel like everybody knows how it started.
So we are going to say documented still.
It's true.
Because that's not really documented. It was just a legend that's been passed down from generations to generations. So who's to say how it started? But unfortunately, Kenosha wasn't immune from these fires. Once they have these fires, of course, we have to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, do you think the downtown looks like downtown 100 when the settlers came?
No, I'm sure over the years it's changed definitely dramatically over the years. And that I'm sure especially after fire, they've started using brick. So they wouldn't have to completely rebuild the whole building every single time. That they would just have to redo the inside instead of the whole outside of the building. Because brick obviously withstands most fires anyway. But when they first settled here, a lot of times they would just use timber and maybe even some straw to build the structure, put it up really quickly. But no, I'm sure the downtown has changed significantly since when they first settled here.
And don't forget those injuries or the deaths that had been caused by those fires. What happens to the souls? What do you think? Are they still here? Do you think they're still here, Chad?
I'm sure some of them are here. Some of them that feel like they were killed unnecessarily or still had some unfinished business.
So do you, as a viewer, do you believe that these ghosts that we see or interact with on occasion, are they truly stuck here? Do they have unfinished business? What are your beliefs about that? Please drop it down in the comments, and we will love to chat about that. That would be kind of interesting to see what kind of opinions are out there.
Is there a business downtown that you think is particularly more haunted than any other area of Kenosha?
That's a good question. I feel like the business that we investigated, Pretty Weird, the antique shop earlier this year, has a really heavy activity for sure.
So that brings up a whole nother question though. Like, is that haunted because of the location though, or is it haunted because of all the stuff that people bring in? So Pretty Weird, for people that don't know, is a resale shop. People bringing in stuff from like their passed away loved ones or stuff that they just don't want anymore, and then they resell it. The owner resells it to people that are looking for antiques and stuff like that. It's an antiques resale shop.
And it's actually pretty weird. Like
It is.
the actual name, it fits and it suits the place because the items there, they do purchase off market, maybe like a black market of items. So it's items that you normally don't see in an antique shop.
Yeah, she finds a lot of them at like estate sales and rummage sales and antique markets. But like, is it haunted because of the location, or is it haunted because of all the stuff that is being brought in? Are the spirits coming with the stuff?
And if you have time, check out our video, Haunted Objects, and tell us what you think. Is it the energy that's left behind from the previous owners, or is it truly an energy that attracts current spirits, maybe even the surrounding areas?
Yeah.
You know, because Kenosha does have a lot of history of it. The deaths, I mean, like, let's talk about the gangster activity. So who is that famous gangster of the Midwest?
Al Capone, right? Yeah.
So after like the factories being established, a lot of adults were drinking a lot. So fun fact, the women of the areas of the U.S. actually petitioned that they didn't want their husbands being drunk because they become abusive or they don't treat them very right, and when they come home or they stay out too late.
So is that why they started Prohibition?
Exactly. Women actually contested that alcohol was the demon, and we need to cancel them out so that they can have a nice married life again. So
Interesting. I mean, there may still be some arguments that alcohol is still the demon, but that's for a whole nother video and argument.
I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm not going to be touching that
This
topic.
is not the channel for that topic, but
Nope. However, you do bring up a good point. Like, is the alcohol even nowadays a factor in a lot of the hauntings that we encounter. Like that, people not being under the influence and
they think they hear something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. It could be.
So that's actually a pretty interesting topic as well. But the thing is, like in the 1920s, about to 1930s, prohibition became a thing. And if you don't know what prohibition is prohibiting any sale of alcohol or distribution of alcohol. So that's where Al Capone comes into life.
He made a big business out of it.
Oh yeah, and it was a successful business. So yes, they still had alcohol being sold and being consumed, but it was an underground operation.
Mm-hmm.
So what comes with underground? It's called a speakeasy. And what is a speakeasy?
It's like an illegal bar that authorities supposedly don't know about, or they at least look the other way when it comes to it, I guess.
And why are they called speakeasies?
That I don't know.
Oh, you want to know?
I do.
Because it is an underground operation and it's a secret, so that they have to provide a password or a secret word, but they have to speak easy.
So it's like the safe room up in Milwaukee.
Yes, just
I
like this
that.
is. So they have to speak easy these words so that they can't get caught.
Huh.
So that's why they were called speakeasies. So, by the way, I totally love this video because it's all about the history, and I love history.
So how many speakeasies do you think there were in Kenosha during this time?
Oh, I'm not sure. I want to say a lot because there is a location here on 60th Street called the Bullseye Bar. Actually went there and they allowed me to go in the basement, and they actually had tunnels still open. I mean, half open. It was blocked halfway through, but like they were still open enough that you can still go in. And we are not sure exactly why they were used, what they were used for. We can only guess because in the basement there were like 4 small concrete rooms that were locked from the outside. So a normal basement, you can lock yourself from the inside. So you walk in and you can close the door and lock it. Mm-hmm. However, their basement locks from the outside. And then there were 4 small concrete rooms. And you take a guess on why and what they were used for. So.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of small businesses in downtown Kenosha that have tunnels still, too. Mm-hmm. They may not advertise it or broadcast it, but we've talked to several small business owners in downtown Kenosha that say that their basements do still have tunnels. They're closed or not used, but mm-hmm. they do exist down there.
I believe the high school here in Ruther still has open tunnels.
Yeah.
You can actually walk it in the basement.
I have no idea where they go to, but I've heard those rumors that they are there.
Mm-hmm. So between the gangster activity, factory deaths, the deaths from that fire, can you only imagine the amount of energy that's here?
Probably a lot.
I'm sure. Or, like, are they still here walking amongst us?
I'm sure that there's at least a handful, if not more. Mm-hmm. I mean, even when we go to Greenridge Cemetery, I mean, the cemetery is a whole different beast because there's obviously people buried there. Mm-hmm. But you always feel something there. Even I even felt a thing or two there walking through the cemetery. Mm-hmm. And I hardly ever feel anything paranormal when walking through a haunted place. So.
Oh yeah, I know. You're a repellent of the haunts.
Seems like that anyway.
But yeah, so like, just imagine all these buildings with all these owners upon tenants too, because these businesses, on top of the businesses, they're apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So can you just imagine how many families went through there? So knowing quite well these buildings are 100 plus years old, most of them at least. Mm-hmm. Why do you think they feel different than, let's say, a newly built house or building across the county?
Well, they just have a different energy to them. Even if they're not haunted or you don't feel anything there. You don't see any spirits there. They just have a different vibe to them. Like you can feel the history to them, if anything. Like that the building itself has seen a lot. It's that saying, like, if these walls could talk, what would they say to you? Like, let's take the Roadie Theater, for example. If those walls could talk to us, what would they say about all the shows that have been put on there, all the things that place has seen?
The high emotions that come with the plays and stuff like that from the audience.
Exactly.
I mean, I think the places around us, and no matter where you are, especially in Kenosha, and I say Kenosha because it is our city, they bring a lot of character, meaning that the architecture, the sense of the past is still present by their architecture, like visibly present, and just the feeling, and Kenosha does a really good job in preserving the past.
Well, that's another thing too, is that these older buildings, they have like actual architecture to them, whereas when you look at new buildings, they're thrown up really fast and they don't have like the same architecture as these older buildings. Like they don't have the crown molding on the ceilings anymore.
I feel like back then they actually took their time and pride in their work.
Yeah, they made them look beautiful and pretty. Like they had, chandeliers and like the pretty designs around the chandeliers, and maybe even painted the ceilings and that kind of stuff. Like they actually made the buildings look beautiful, whereas today they look very cold and sterile.
And boxy.
Yeah.
I don't like the box feeling. It makes me feel like I'm in a coffin. So, I mean, I feel like that's why paranormal investigators love to investigate these buildings, because they still have that history imprint to it. And if you talk to any investigator, they got into the field because of history of locations, not just the sheer thrill of talking to a ghost, because we don't know if we're actually talking to a ghost kind of thing. So, and let's now get to 4706 7th Avenue, the pretty weird antique shop. So when we first stopped there, what did you think of it first, like their grand opening weekend?
It's unique, something different. I mean, Kenosha does have a couple other resale shops, Olfison, and I always forget the name, Porter.
Wooden Chair Horse, I believe.
Yep.
Lulu Birds.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
There's a couple other places. I'm sure we're forgetting one or two other ones in Kenosha and the surrounding area. But Pretty Weird, I think, did a really good job at promoting themselves right off the bat, right away. And it's just a unique space. It's not a very big space, but it's a unique space. They jam-packed a lot of stuff in that little space. And the owner there, she has a lot of energy. She's very upbeat, very positive, very personable. As soon as you walk in there, she
greets you with a smile.
Greets you with a smile, always says hi, and is willing to stop and have a conversation with you about pretty much anything you want to have a conversation about.
Exactly. But the thing is, like, what's pretty weird, it's not just a normal vintage shop. It actually holds interesting and pretty weird stuff. When we were there investigating, they actually had funeral jewelry and a frame filled with hair from the deceased. So if you are an investigator or follow ghost hunting, or watch Supernatural, that any remnants of a person who died can have them attached to it, kind of thing. So I reached out to the owner and asked if we can investigate there. And she said, yeah. And she was completely gung-ho about it, which is a great thing from an owner to allow us to go into that space after hours and do our thing. So.
Because a lot of businesses, they are scared of the supernatural or being stigmatized as like a haunted place. They think it'll drive away customers. They'll think it'll drive away their business. But whatever we learned from our research about being the paranormal and being classified as haunted.
So it's funny because paranormal has that stigma to it that you don't want to be known as a paranormal haunting or whatnot. It actually, for the most part, actually is the opposite effect. Most people are like really intrigued by a place being haunted because they want to go there, they want to have that experience for themselves. So thereby, they're going to go and spend the money, sit there to get that experience. So we're finding it the opposite way. So if you're one of the businesses that are scared to be attached to hauntings, maybe double check your thoughts.
Yeah, don't be scared. I mean, a lot of these people, from what we're finding in our research, is that it's what, like 47 to like 60% of people are fascinated by this stuff. They just want to go to the business and see what all the hubbub is about. Whether or not they actually have their own experience or not, they don't care. They just want to go there and see what it's about. Buy some stuff and sit there for a little while and see if anything happens to them or not.
Exactly. So, and it's kind of funny because then we start doing our research and we find that the address that's attached to this building
Should not be there.
should not be there.
The post office gave them an address because it is a separate business from the Martino's.
Martino's Dry Cleaning,
Yep.
which is 4700.
So they gave them their own address so they can get their own mail. But they should not have an address, technically.
So the truth is, we don't really have much of a research information for this particular property. So we scoured old newspapers, former businesses. The only thing that popped up on our history search for this thing, and there used to be a evangelical church, but even then, there's no real information for that. So is it really a legend or did it really exist? And this building shouldn't exist at all.
Well, the building should, but this particular address for pretty weird should not exist.
The section of the building.
So what do you guys' thought? Is Pretty Weird actually haunted, or is it just haunted because of all the stuff that's in there, everything that people are bringing in?
Or is it haunted from the past of Kenosha that was there, and we know that it's there, kind of thing. So let us know. I mean, like, it is a pretty interesting conundrum that we are having for this location. So if you know anything of anything for this location, let us know.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts.
Well, that is it. The history of Kenosha and the mystery behind 4706 7th Avenue, aka Pretty Weird Antique Shop. All right, guys, have a great day. Until the next time.
Have a good one.